Hey, I want to give you 5 tips on how to improve your tattoo line work. If that's something that you want to know, then make sure you stick around. Hey, welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm Ben Fisher, the owner and artist right here at Inkbrush. Today, I'm going to be giving you 5 tips that will dramatically improve your line work. Now, for any new artist, line work is probably one of the hardest things to really master, but it's also, in my opinion, something that can make or break a tattoo. Now, if you've been following along to my free 30-day course, then you should have already been working on these drills, but there's also an extra one in here that I think really takes your line work to that next level. Tip number 1, A to B. So what do I mean? Well, before you start your line, you need to know where you're starting and where you want to finish. Point A and point B. Then, I always recommend that you have a couple of dry runs without entering the mat or skin. This gets your hand and arm used to doing that movement and should make the actual tattooing a lot more comfortable and natural. Tip number 2, depth. Now this plays a huge role in how solid and smooth your lines look. We need to keep the depth as consistent as possible. If your needle is changing depth in and out of the skin, then it's going to cause your lines to look inconsistent. Some areas will be nice and bold, and then some areas will be scratchy looking and really thin. So keep depth consistent. Tip number 3, avoid flicking. Now this is really noticeable and something that so many new artists do and often don't even realise. What I mean by flicking is many people flick the machines as they're finishing a line and coming out of the skin. Now this creates a taper at the end of the line, so it gets a little bit thinner. So make sure that you're maintaining the correct depth and control until you've fully completed the entire line, and avoid the little flick as you're leaving the skin. Tip number 4, hand speed. Now when it comes to shading, we're constantly speeding up or slowing down as hand speed to create different effects and shades. When lining for solid, smooth lines, this isn't the case. We need everything to be continuous and consistent. Try to get into a good habit of every time you do lines that your hand is moving at the same speed from start to finish. Obviously, sometimes you're wanting to create a different effect when you need to change the speeds, but at this beginner level, we're sticking to the basics of getting nice, smooth, consistent lines. Tip number 5. Now this is something that I learned a few years ago, and as soon as I was taught it, my line work literally changed overnight. If you remember anything from this video that is going to have the biggest impact, then this is it. Following the stencil. What do I mean? We all follow stencil, don't we? Well, yeah, we do, but we don't follow it close enough. I'm going to explain and show you what I mean, and then I want you to go and give it a go and let me know in the comments below how much this has helped you. Now let me give you an example. We're following a stencil with, let's say, a 3-liner, just for this exercise. Now most people aim the needle to be in the centre of the stencil line. Now that's great, but if you look really closely at the needle, it's actually thinner than the stencil line itself. So the needle can actually move side to side a little bit and it's still in the stencil line. Here's what I recommend. Instead of aiming for the centre of the stencil line, we pick a side and aim to stay perfectly on the edge. Now, this little tip should really help increase your focus and your accuracy. Give it a go and see how you get on. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Also, if you're not already following my free 30 days worth of lessons teaching you all the basics of tattooing, then don't miss out and go follow the links in the description. Thank you all for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.